Hi everyone, welcome back to the Mech Bay. Today's the first episode in a small trilogy that we're going to talk about boating weapons. Boating means that you equip many of one or two very similar weapons. This gives you an easy optimal range at which you want to engage and good convergence because every weapon is almost the same. We're going to start with boating ballistics using the Jaeger Mech Double D. The ballistic weapon which we're boating is the Ultra AC5. The Double D has quirks that reduce the jam chance and they're a powerful weapon, putting out a potential 6 DPS each with the double tap until they jam. Weapons and ammo are the most important in a boat, and engine and armor are rather like afterthoughts. This is why we first add 3 UAC5s and 7 tons of ammo. As I've mentioned in an earlier video, around 2 tons for each weapon is a good starting point. And I add a little bit more because this is our main weapon system. UACs tend to use a little bit more ammo than regular autocannons as well, so we could go even higher. We only mount 3 UACs because equipping the 4th will greatly tax the available tonnage that we still have for our engine and armor, which usually takes up around half the weight of your mech. Also, the ammo would have to be placed in dangerous spots around the torsos, which are going to be focused by enemy fire, so that would increase the chance of an ammo explosion. Now it's time to add the armor and our double heat sinks. So go to max armor, move some. Now we have a whole ton left. So 13 tons, that's not really a lot to run for our standard engines. Standard engines weigh a lot and it's not really possible to remove 5.5 tons right now. Well, we can try to mount endosteel, that leaves us with only 2.5 tons, but that's still a lot of armor that we're going to remove in our current setup. So we could do this, but it's better to accept our defeat for now and go with an XL engine. Yeah, for an XL engine we currently don't have enough slots, so I'm going to remove the ferrofibers. This mech actually starts with ferrofibers and we add the endosteel later. So this is mostly just optimization because endosteel saves more weight than ferrofibers does. Yeah, removing ferrofibers means that we again have to optimize our tonnage, and there we go. This mech is able to run an XL295, which is nice. This XL295 is a staple engine for most light mechs, which I've mentioned earlier in the Raven video. So it's really good to have one, and it makes you really fast and you keep a lot of armor. The only downside of the current situation for this boat is the lack of backup weapons. Not every boat runs backup weapons, but that's usually when they're in an organized team and when they know they can't get flanked or approached by enemy lights. So when you're solo pugging in a match, I don't really advise that you run something like this unless you're a really good player, and instead you can try to make use of these energy hardpoints for some backup weapons against the enemy lights mostly. So the easiest way to do that is to go down to the XL260. This is the base engine that the mech comes with, so it's really budget as well, and we just mount 2 medium lasers. That's the easiest way. You still get to keep a lot of armor, so that's really good for newer players. You get your additional weapons, but still you generally don't try to use these unless you have to, because they generate a lot of heat and we don't have a lot of dissipation, and we don't want to be in that range anyway. So for more optimized building, you could opt to remove some more armor, because we have a lot of these legs here, but since we are a long-ranged build, we can usually rely on using terrain for our cover. So as long as we can stand behind a ridge, people won't be able to shoot our legs, and we can remove a lot of armor from that, which gives us a lot of tonnage to work with. For example, we can go far below our threshold, which is usually legs added together, should be center torso added together. We go far below this, remove some extra from the head because it's probably not going to be hit, and instead of an XL260 we're on an XL280, which is very common in many people's garage. We can go even lower, of course. This XL295 is really powerful because it gives you a lot of speed. So with most of these engines, they're pretty slow, and you want to move out of RT strikes that are called upon your position. So we're going to try to remove enough armor that we can mount this XL295 that we did before. So again, remove some from the head. I'm also going to remove some from the arms, but I'm very certain that I don't want to remove anything from my torso in terms of armor. Reason as to why is, well, people are going to be focusing your armor or your legs, your torso or your legs. Your arms aren't really going to be targeted most of the match. So now we could run an XL295, though this is already a bit tricky. You can't guarantee that you can always hide behind a ridge, so to stay a little bit safer, I would probably still just remove half a ton of ammo instead and put the rest of this into the legs. So you can play around with these armor values a large amount to see what kind of engine you want to mount. Keep in mind though also that the engine increases your torso twist rate, so that makes it easier to track targets at closer ranges, or to or to be just more mobile in general. But yeah, the most important is to keep your torso max armor, and when reducing the armor of your legs, be absolutely certain that you can keep them safe by standing behind ridges or running away from RD strikes. Though many people are still not really a fan of XL engines in Jaeger mechs because they have very large side torsos, which are easily focused down by a sniper, for example. So instead of running this XL, it is possible to run a standard engine. Though it's going to be difficult with UAC5s, but it is possible. Another way, of course, to increase your durability a little bit is to remove a lot of armor from the backside and put it on the front. For example, you only run 7 armor in the back, and the rest is delegated to the front side of the mech, which makes you more bulky if you're just going to be facing the enemy anyway. But yeah, the challenge for today is actually to build a Jaeger mech, this Jaeger mech, or the Mauler, which is an assault mech, which runs a standard engine and can deal at least 1000 damage with their ballistic weapons. Extra points if you make the main weapon UACs on the Jaeger mech, but it's not required. You can take your own favorite weapon combination, but just make sure that the weapons that you choose have a similar range, velocity or playstyle, and that the engine is fast enough for you to torso twist so you can actually lead your targets. I'll post a link to my solution in this Jaeger mech in the description, and you can also respond there with your own build. Yeah, so thanks for watching, and then good luck, of course, and until next time.